Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check, waifu, king, Telly, I know. Is that you?
328, we here.
This is episode 328 of Mic Check, waifu. As always, brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Mic Check, waifu is where you can get early access to the video version of this podcast. Is where you can get access to the Patreon exclusive podcast, The After Stories, where you can get access to the pre-show, which goes live usually 2 days before this episode goes live. Check out Patreon.com/Mic Check waifu to support us, just like our Patreon producer does. And you can explicitly Cad the Pro from Chaotic Culture Podcast, Fear, Semi Sensei, Frozen, T Money Fingers, Dad Needs to Talk Podcast, Christian the Archivist, aka Death Scythe, All for One Matt, Rob Stone, more from him later, and last but certainly not least, our guy Matthew H. Thank you so much for producing this and many other episodes of the podcast. We truly couldn't do this without you. It means the world to us. Thank you very much. 328 episodes of Mic Check Waifu. Wow.
Yeah, bro.
Which is the anime podcast that's brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. We are here to bring you a conversation based off of seasonal anime. Sorry, Tails background started moving and I stopped myself just in case if we had to make an edit or something. But based off of seasonal topics and conversation, reviews and etc. We appreciate y'all for the support. 300 deep is still so crazy to me. As we start off every episode of Mic Check Waifu, we're going to start off with our episode of the week. This week, Tell, what was your episode of the week?
It's an easy one. Dusk Beyond the End of the World for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think nothing could top that episode of the week this week. But I'm with you there. I think both of ours should be Dusk Beyond the End of the World. Yeah, that's something we're gonna bring in spoiler have. I know it's rare that we have it nowadays, but spoiler talk, Dusk Beyond the End of the World is one we have to talk about. So yeah, we'll let you guys know when that comes. And you know what? Let's bring in Wild Boss too, because that for spoiler talk, because that shit needs to be discussed and effectively probably ranted about.
You like
loved it, man. It's exactly how I felt. I'm like, it's so dumb. I said it right above you about last week about the show being stupid. So I was like, it's just dumb. It's just stupid. We'll talk about that later though. Okay. Before we get into that, Tell, what did you say you had to talk about? So,
what I want to talk about, and this is going to kind of lead into what we want to talk about later, but this is just a random thing. I started watching My Love Story with Yamada-Kun at level 999.
I'm not going to cuss my brother out.
Wait, what's wrong?
Nothing, because we were supposed to watch that for a review eventually, but it's cool.
No, look, I started watching it. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
And it makes me appreciate the fact that we reviewed the Flagrant Flower Blooms with Dignity.
Oh.
Because in a stark comparison, it's not. It doesn't land half as well. And that sucks. That really, really sucks.
Well, you got a recency bias too. Factor that in.
That's true. But I'm new to Yamada-Kun as well. Like, it's not like it's something that like I watched and watched. I did watch all of the Flagrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, but this Yamada-Kun, it makes me feel like, I hate to say this, I know it blends these kind of genres that I like. I do like the romance, and I do like the gaming aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
But the issue I have is the same issue that I have with Your Sleeper.
Okay. Star
right?
Brighter Than the Sun.
is that the communication aspect of this is so weak. Like these characters, one character is kind of like, he is not unaware, but is aloof.
Okay.
And I mean, that's almost kind of the same thing, but it's he's kind of just like disengaged from it, not interested, uninterested is exactly what it is. But maybe gaining interest. And then you have another character who is just going through this hardship with relationships in general, who is seemingly attracted to another or the other character. And it's just like, it don't feel good, bro. Especially after watching and A Flagrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, because it just it felt so much more mature.
Right.
And these characters are not adults in Flagrant Flower Blooms and Dignity versus
characters that are
adults. It feels so, it does feel like a step back, bro.
It's a reminder of also My Awkward Senpai. It's kind of virtually the same thing as far as like the communication aspect of it and the way it floats. Obviously, My Awkward Senpai, I'm still in it, episode 9, and it's actually going somewhere. We're making progress, albeit slowly, but we are. To speak on the review last week, we had a couple of things to discuss about that review last week. So Rob Stone, one of the Patreon producers, he comments and says, "I've been saving up episodes to binge this weekend and finally caught up on level 9,999, which is surprisingly good, except for episode 2, which was the most bizarre waste of 20 minutes." I can speak on that a little bit later, but I'm going to finish the comment. He says, finished Fragrant Flower and Broom, so my review score. So this is Rob Stone's official review score. He says, animation, 9, great show. Beautiful throughout, beautiful with stunning visuals. And he says, music is an 8, nothing wrong with it, but not a standout either. And he says, characters, a 10, the high point of the show. The surrounding cast elevated the show and helped bridge the lull you normally see around the midway points of romance season. Even his parents got moments to shine, and to steal the spotlight. Facts. 9, plot. As you say, school subplot take a step back, and it will presumably be more relevant later in the story. But the main focus of the plot, our main characters, the growth and the belief in their friends, was strong throughout. And he gave that a 9. And then in pacing, he says, pacing is a 10. As I said, the shifting focus between characters and their motivations kept the show feeling fresh and moving quickly. So his overall score was a 9.2. Yeah. I mean, very, 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 very valid points. And then
that review was, to me, it aligns with us very well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like some of those scores, I feel like I can understand why plot is a 9, even though I would have given it higher, or I did give it higher.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it aligns so accurately, in my opinion, with the quality of what that show was.
Yeah, because he does what I do when it comes to discussing a plot, which we're going to discuss in more detail later on in this particular episode. But it's factoring in what is the main objective of the show. What is the show? What from point A to point B is the show trying to take you to? And that is, I think, always very important for a plot, or the plot of an anime, because it's what the characters circle around. It's what the character motivation is. But however, as I said last week with our review, this particular plot was versus school, and that became a complete non-issue for this, because again, it's probably so it can be an effective story later on. But this became the characters. The characters became the plot. And that, to me, is why the plot also got a 10, because they were so intertwined with each other that I couldn't do nothing but the same thing that Tell does with his plot, and that's factor in characters with the plot. So, yeah, I agree with his review. Also, for last week's show, we got a comment from someone new. Shout out to Grace263 on YouTube. She says, or they say, I'm sorry if I'm assuming that you're a female, but they say, thank you very much for the review of Fragrant Flower. Glad to see you both enjoy it. It's such a refreshing romance series. I love it a whole lot. Unrelated fact, Makami Sakai, and sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but Makami Sakai, the author of Fragrant Flower manga, used to be an assistant for Nisa Saruto, the author of Windbreaker. And now both their series are animated by Cloverworks, which is a nice coincidence. Which is because those are two fantastic series.
Amazing.
It makes sense as to are used to being an assistant, or they, because I'm not sure if they're male or female either, used to be assistant to another great writer. And that writer,
pacing.
Yeah, that writer is also very strong with character writing. So, as well as pacing. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So, understandable why this show resonate with both of us so well, because we love
both of those shows. And that just goes to show that sometimes surrounding yourself with the right people
yeah,
just helps you produce a higher quality product, man. That's 100%. Crazy.
It's a fantastic series, man. It's a fantastic series. Okay, now the main focus of the show for today's episode of My Check Waifu is that we are here to discuss something that we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, or teasing for the last couple of weeks, and that's why our taste differs so much from the usual or the general consensus in the anime community. And I mean, it varies so much. For example, Gachiakuta or Gachiakuta, both are right. That's a show that people absolutely love. And Tel watched a lot more of it than I did. I've only watched 3 episodes. I couldn't stand watching it. And Tel watched, like I said, more. He obviously don't enjoy it as much as the general consensus do as well. So that's one show where I think is a perfect starting point, because I'm going to throw in another show that we are probably on the opposite of everybody else in on following this conversation. So Gachiakuta or Gachiakuta, why do you think that show resonates with the general population so well versus us? So to put it in perspective, let me see if I can find the actual show on AniList and what the rating is. Here it is. Okay. So the rating of it is an 80% on AniList. We both feel like this is not a damn 80.
Yeah. Here's the thing. And for Gachiakuta, Gachiakuta, I don't, like I said, either way.
Both are right.
For this show, the only thing I could say that and I'm not gonna say that. Let's go with, I think that the consensus for majority of people, the reason they like it is because it kind of has this. Yeah, the look is really good. The look is going to draw a lot of attention. But it also has this kind of trendy factor, right? And I'm not sure if you have seen, like, specifically with Zeno and his voice acting in this show. Have you seen?
Oh yeah, it's clear.
The constant conversation that's been around Jabber. Jabber. I think that keeps this show in conversation, because I literally like, and there is some respect to how certain characters are done in this, specifically talking about like how this is some of the best Black representation in anime that we have seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it is the best, but it's some of the best. Like, it's hard to deny.
Can't take that away.
But it really is just like, it's trendy. It's trendy. It's easy to digest. It's easy to turn on and say, I know exactly what's going on. I'm not saying the story is necessarily direct, but you do get moment to moment. It tells you, hey, we're in a little mini tournament arc. We got to go fight these people. And that happens. Hey, we're going to go look to see this person who saw somebody come from the top and also was able to go back up. It tells you what the next objective is, like a linear MMO or a linear video game. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like that's the best way to explain it. It tells you what the next step is, and then it goes and executes that next step. The shock value in this show comes from the I would say, in my opinion, the interestingness of some characters, but I also haven't been too enthralled in any characters. Like, I can genuinely say I get the intrigue behind Jabber. Every other character, though, I kind of low-key don't care about. And I can only say I like Jabber because of how reminiscent of, like, I kind of wish like a character like Killer B was a little bit more written like this in terms of how.
Just say it's Zeno. Zeno is
a dog,
magnet.
bro.
Yeah, he's like he draws you in with his performance. He's incredible.
He's killing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I almost imagine that he rewrote the script a little bit just to make it fit for him. It's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish that we had something like that for Killer B, because I feel like it feels less of a caricature. Yes. Not to say Killer B is a caricature, but it feels less of that.
You're right.
But that's what part of the draw for this show is that some of these characters don't feel like caricatures. They don't feel like they're meant to be jokes. But it's like gritty. It gives you, I'm not gonna say Hunter x Hunter, but it gives you like the Hunter x Hunter moment to moment vibe. I'm not gonna say it's as good as Hunter x Hunter, but I'm not gonna say it's because I can't say I'm as tied to some of these characters as I would even be tied to, like, none of the good guys I even care about. And that sucks. That sucks for a show. But that I feel like that also is just, in my opinion, they're not necessarily well-written characters. They're not well-written characters.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion. That's my opinion. But I like the power system. And that's something that I wish was a little bit more focused on in the conversation that people bring to this show. And I don't understand why that's not tied to the 8.0 that they're giving it. Why are we not talking about that power system? Because I actually think that's the strong suit for this show, in my opinion.
I mean, you can virtually, since it's the general consensus, you can virtually say that's probably part of the conversation as well, because this is, hundreds of thousands of reviews of people giving it this, and they probably believe in that power system, which I disagree with. I think it's trash, pun intended.
I mean, that's
I think what you said, and I'm gonna speak for Tel here for just a small piece, because I think I could say that with confidence that we both believe that characters are the most important piece of an anime series, period. Point blank, bar none, nothing else matters. I don't give a fuck how good your ward is if your character stays, because look, and y'all gonna hate me for saying this too, but Attack on Titan, the world is phenomenal in Attack on Titan. The characters absolutely stink. So with that being said, that is where we stand as far as our belief in discussing the anime. Now I'm gonna speak for myself here. I think the reason why Gachiakuta is popular is because it's simple. It is simple. They're very good at not good, because I don't think this is good at all, over-explaining everything. I think the over-explanation of everything that goes on and conversations that two characters are having when they know the situation that they're in, it feels so unnatural. It makes it easy to follow. And because it's easy to follow, people who spend a lot of time on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that enjoys things that are simple to follow, easy to wrap their head around when it comes to shows. When you gotta think, and I'm gonna transition into the show I want to bring into this conversation, but when you gotta overly think because it's a little bit more complicated with the characters and powers and situations and plotting, etc., it becomes people tune it out, people check out. And what I think this show is trying to be reminiscent of, and again, might kill me, but it's trying to be reminiscent of Naruto. But what I like about Naruto, and I promise you, if you go back and watch Naruto, you will understand what I'm saying here. There are so many philosophies in Naruto, character-wise, from many different characters. I mean, from Shippuden on down, when you talk about Gaara and his speech to the ninja about Naruto and their situation against each other, a speech that is absolutely immaculate that you totally forget about until you hear it again. The Madara speeches, the fucking Pain speeches, the Naruto speeches themselves. There's so many there's philosophies in Naruto that you feel with growing up with these characters or growing with these characters that you don't see in Gachiakuta, or they assume to try to do. That is, I think, that epically fails, because again, they're trying to oversimplify what this world and characters are, and I find that to be so fucking boring that it's because it's been done. It's been done better, and it's been done cleaner, and it's been done nicer with maybe not as good art, and that's what I think is the difference for me personally. I think characters are so important to anime that, again, if your characters are bad, You can have an Attack on Titan. No, you can have a One Piece world. Okay, you can have a One Piece world. You can have a Bleach plot. And you can have I don't know, what's a good power system? A Naruto power system. I think that power system before the Boruto, but a Naruto power system, and your characters stink, and I will find your entire anime to stink personally. Now the show I wanted to bring in into this conversation is Hell's Paradise. Hell's Paradise is one of the ones that is a shonen as well, and it's seemingly it's coming back soon. This is also why I wanted to bring it up too. It's seemingly it's just as popular as Gachiakuta, which I don't believe it should be. I think it should be more than, but that's only because Gachiakuta should be lower on the score. I would give Gachiakuta probably like a 65, maybe 55. But Hell's Paradise receive a lot more hate and a lot less hype than Gachiakuta does and is receiving. And I find that to be concerning because what Hell's Paradise do so well is those characters. Because when just thinking about it now, I'm getting chills because these characters are fighting for something more, and it's a lot less of the over explanation of what's going on in the world, because you still virtually have no freaking clue of what's going on in Hell's Paradise for the most part, but you can still follow it well. You still understand the struggle of the characters. You still want to see them succeed. You want to root for them. I don't want to root for anybody in Gachiakuta. I don't really care about nothing they got going on. But here, on the other hand, it's different. Like, I want to see them win. And in the situation where we were last left off in Hell's Paradise, if y'all remember correctly, was a rough one. It was a rough situation to stop on. But I'm excited to see more of it. I'm excited to see it happen. You know what I'm saying? Or see whatever expanse we're going to get with this upcoming season, July or January 11th.
To continue with the Hell's Paradise conversation, because I have to agree. I've talked to Polo about this before, but I have a friend who loves Dandadan more than he likes Hell's Paradise. He thinks Hell's Paradise is trash, and I'm trying to hear him out. And I think it's a hard thing to hear because I absolutely can't agree with it. Because I think about how if you remove, like, let's say if you remove the character's powers from the world of Dandadan, the show has nothing. And they're just regular students. Like, the world isn't quite drawing you in if you don't have the flashiness of it. And I feel like that as well, like with Gachiakuta. And that's the thing that makes this interesting, is because with Hell's Paradise, it's not like they're necessarily separating the power system from the world.
Right.
It's quite literally intertwined with what we're seeing develop as we speak in episode by episode situations or anything like that. The characters, they have their own like specifications or specializations. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Each character is kind of like specialized towards something, and their own understandings that may make them more adept at something. And then they'll see it and say, this is the understanding to be gained from this. As we, the watcher or viewer, is gaining that knowledge as well.
Mm-hmm. We learn as they learn.
And the importance of a delivery mechanism for some things, I think is hard to, you can't supersede that. These characters, and it's tied, like I said, once again, to those characters, but these characters develop this world for us, so to speak.
Yes.
But they're only living in this world.
Exactly.
While I think the characters are extremely important in a show like Hell's Paradise, it also feels like a show where there are high stakes. Like, we could lose these characters, or at least that's how it feels to me. Like, we could lose 100%. These characters and that'd be the end of them. But it doesn't change the dynamic of the world.
Right.
The world persists. And that's crazy to say for people who absolutely love characters over just about everything. But when you have a show where you've developed the world so much to the point that the world becomes a character. The power system is a character. All these things are things that are so dynamic within the show that losing someone so important almost doesn't feel like it changes your interest in watching the show. And I say that specifically because there is a show that I feel like made my wife feel that way, made myself feel that way, and it has also made, I'm quite sure, hundreds of thousands of other people feel that way. And I would say that show has to be like Death Note, where people love Death Note, right?
Absolutely love Death Note.
Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. People absolutely love Death Note. But the issue with Death Note,
84%.
It's so tied to this back and forth relationship with these characters that was amazing. The dynamic was amazing. And then you remove one of these characters, but you did not develop everything else around them well enough to actually do that.
Yep. And
that's why pacing and world building and these different things become so pertinent in these shows. And that's why our review scale is reflected in a manner in which it's like that. Because in Death Note, and I'm not gonna lie to you, bro, that first half up until that situation, which obviously it shouldn't be a spoiler because it's been out for 35 years. Until you get to that point, almost I feel 20. Like the pacing is amazing, right?
Sure.
Like I feel like this show is on a high, and arguably I think it's extremely relevant to say this show is worthy of all the accolades that it has. And then you get to that point, and majority of people I know, and I know some people who may have watched it all the way through, but I feel like there's so many people who watched it to that point, saw that happen, and just turned it off.
And that's where it should have ended. That's where it should have ended, because if it ended there, it would have been great. Yeah, it would have been perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. Like if that's where you want to go with your story, so be it. It's perfectly fine. And I'm probably going to be alone when I say this, but I think Death Note is very mediocre even before that point. I think if you guys not you guys, but I think if you rewatch it now, from the standpoint of where we are now, as far as like our consumption of as many anime as we've watched and stories as we've endured, it's going to be very middling or mad decent, as we call it, because it wasn't that great to begin with. However, though, during the time that it came out, it was revolutionary. And up until that point, after that point, it became revolutionary garbage. Because as you said perfectly, as you said eloquently, so beautifully, they did not develop anybody else around those two cast of characters at all, to the point where it just turned into nothing. Because I can guarantee you, most of you don't remember what happened after that particular part happened. So that being said, that explains a lot. Like an overall 84, that's higher than so many shows that I would find so much better. Like it's nostalgia. It's nostalgia, definitely. I'm gonna give you a perfect example of a show that I think deserves an 80 right now, and it's not even done yet. And that's Chitose. Chitose is in the Ramune Bottle. Just to bring it to the modern times right now, Chitose right now has a 69% on the Annie list. Versus what? Versus where is it? This season, A Wild Ass Boston Pier has a 72. What in the everlasting fuck is going on with the general consensus? I know exactly what's going on with the general consensus. And sorry to do this, but it reminds me of what the conversation we had about TK. TK talking about it's flashier, looks better, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot going on in the Wild Ass Boston Piers that seemingly is, lack of a better term, jaw dropping as far as powers go, or fight situation go, or you know what I'm saying, something.
The wow factor
and the flashy colors and the karate kicking a meteor or fucking robot shooting bullets, guns and shit. It has all of it. It has that. It has nothing else. It has very dumb characters, very stupid plot. But it is going to be rated higher for the general consensus because it's flashy. It's eye candy. However, Chitose and Ramune Bottle has characters, I think, pretentiousness and all, Rob Stone, that is captivating. And because of their captivating writing in this show, that I think is leagues above something like a Wild Ass Boss appear. Now, is it fair to put a slice of life compared to an action shonen show? Not really. Yes. Oh, you think so?
Mm-hmm.
Expand.
I think that it's fair to compare them because, regardless, the categories in which we're viewing them on kind of remain the same, right? Like,
it's just anime, right? Like
it's like a show regardless. You know what I mean? You're watching it still. Like, yes, I watched Big Bang Theory and I fucking loved Big Bang Theory. But I also watched Game of Thrones and I fucking loved Game of Thrones.
I see. Yeah.
And cinematically, right? Which one is cinematically better if I had to do animation? I'm gonna say cinematography. Cinematography wise, clearly Game of Thrones is leagues above. Big Bang Theory.
True.
But character wise, I think, it's better there too. Pacing, what happened there?
Yeah, exactly.
What happened there?
That's where we fall.
You know what I mean?
That's true. Good point.
Whereas Big Bang Theory, because of how simplistic in the day-to-day episodes that it was, you know what I mean? It's still relative. And I say that because, like, boom, we bust out a show like ReZero versus My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu.
Okay.
Right? In terms of pacing, I would say both of these shows got better with pacing as the seasons progressed.
Oh yeah, you very different than me with the pacing. I think the pacing is phenomenal. My Teen Romantic.
Well, I'm saying I think that pacing in both of them are better, are amazing, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying that, like, for instance, like, let's say for instance, like for me, for ReZero, I think like season 1 pacing, after like watching it and then watching like even the director's cut, I was like, God.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect.
How do you make this better? How do you make this better? You can't, right?
Yeah.
Versus, like, I feel like, and this is gonna be crazy, but to me, I said, how can you make this better? But I feel like in season 2, I was like, yo, this is like, it to me, it was on the money. It wasn't getting worse, in my opinion. I just think it was just like, I'm getting more of what I want. And because I already enjoyed the show so much and I'm getting even more of what I enjoy, it almost feels like it's getting better, right?
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. That's the escalation I'm saying. And I feel like, let's say, for instance, past a certain point and not remake our life, because that's different, but my Teen Romantic Comedy, right? Past a certain point, I feel like, boom, everything connects and makes sense. Then it just gets better from there. Like, and I think that ties to the idea that, for instance, these shows are entirely different. One is more action oriented, even though you may have some slice of life moments and things like that. But the characters, we're still rating those characters. You know what I mean? Yeah. Do I care about these characters? Is that important? Did they develop those characters within that world? What is the world of those characters, right? So ReZero, the world is much more expansive in terms of like how huge it is, right?
Yeah.
But if we're looking at the world of those two series and saying what they're developed around, like, if you go to this My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu's school, that's our world. Yeah. That's the ecosystem that we're building in.
Sure.
And how well developed are those characters in which we're bouncing that communication off of? And I feel like if you look at ReZero, very similar aspect. The communication that we have with this large web of characters, so we have a much larger web of characters within that series. But you are also given so much information that's developed between those series. So I think that you're still rating those scales and things the same yeah. Regardless of whether it's more action oriented or if it's a slice of life.
So conversation remains the same.
Yeah, the conversation remains the same. Genre. And it's just the idea of what the what the plot is and
Basis,
how that series is looked at in terms of what the action is, what the pacing is. Because if it's an action oriented series, the pacing is about around the fighting.
Sure.
But if it's a adventure series, the pacing is around finding the next adventure, like Freerun or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that's why, damn, I feel like I'm going on a whole other thing. But like, if you look at a show like Freerun, the fighting isn't the action for that series, even though some people want to see more fighting.
It's unbelievable.
The action is the adventure, is the discovery.
The conversation of Freerun drives me insane.
Yeah, but that's what it is, though. You know what I mean? It's not an action show, even though there's action there, and that's how I'm going to always phrase it. You can't convince me otherwise.
Right.
The action in that show is the discovery. It is the understanding, the finding out about Freerun's past, and then what Freerun's future looks like.
Yeah.
Amazing show, by the way, but that's why I say the conversation is the same when you compare those things, like Chitose and a Ramune Bottle, and then you compare it to Wild Last Boss Appeared. In my mind, how do you compare these shows when, like, yes, you can compare them, but why are we comparing them? They're not even on the same level.
Yeah.
Chitose and a Ramune Bottle should be in the 90s currently, like
That's what
85, 90 in my opinion.
Same.
Wild Last Boss Appeared. Can you drop that to a 60? Can we get there?
Yeah, and that's why the weighted scores or the average scores or weighted scores for AniList drives me insane, because it sends, and I guess this is the job of us as anime podcasters who've been doing this for more than 5 years, is that why, if somebody sees a 71 on AniList, which for one, it's hard to get high to get in the 70s period in AniList, because everybody has either a spiteful or opinion, or they like what they like. And it's always mostly these simplistic fighting shows with pretty colors that seems to be weighted the highest. And that's not to diminish anybody's taste in anime. It's just the fact that, the state that there are so many more shows that are better that don't get the attention that it deserves, specifically Chitose and the Ramune Bottle. What reason would people give this, for one, the people that rate early, give this anything lower than an 80, in my opinion? I can't see it. But the reason why I can't see it is because I view it from a different lens. I view it from a lens of somebody who enjoys a story. Now, what I'm thinking is, and this is me going into the mindset of somebody who, the general consensus, what I'm thinking is their thought process is, I'm watching anime. I'm not watching anime to watch Young and the Restless or fucking name a high school teen show from Nickelodeon or Disney Channel or something like that. I think that's their thought process. I think I don't want to see just characters talking for 20 minutes. And that's where I think wild. and it's so wild to me to even to think, but that's exactly what Chitose and a Ramune Bottle is, because it's literally just characters talking while they have situations and obviously progression through a plot that is very in depth with a lot of background and intrigue, in my opinion. People with the TikTok, Twitter, Instagram brain don't want to see that shit. They want to see somebody throwing down so they can post clips or pictures of it and share it with the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that's what people want. And that it's hard for us to be podcasters that are not like that. Luckily, we have our community, and our community understands who we are. But it's so, I don't know. I can't understand it, because, again, it just goes into, let's go into some other shows this season specifically that I'm going to just pick two out of, right? So we got, let's go with My Status as an Assassin, obviously exceeds the heroes. This has a 68%, which I think is appropriate. It could be even less, in my opinion, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But Dad is a Hero, Mom is a Spirit, and I'm a Reincarnator has a 64% on AniList. This show is freaking incredible. Not only is it an isekai, okay, I know people are tired of isekai, so that's probably one of the reasons why the score is rated lower. People always rate isekais lower, but also so is My Status as an Assassin, so that's why I put those two together. But Dad is a Hero, Mom is a Spirit, and I'm a Reincarnator has so many more interesting topics of discussions and through lines and plots and scenarios and situations and even characters that are so much more interesting than my status as an assassin obviously exceeds the hero, that I don't understand why these are in the same, while that's rated higher than this, not by much, but it is rated higher than this. I can't fathom why. But then I think about the pretty colors and the fighting and the way it looks. And I think, oh, there you go.
and I think that what you were saying previously even, and then leading into this, it makes a lot of sense when you put it in context like this, right? Is that although we are watching a lot of anime, and sometimes we watch anime just because there's something out for this season, right?
Right.
But
we watch trash too.
Although we watch a ton of anime, we watch a lot of anime with intention.
Mm-hmm.
And some people might be turning this anime on because it's like the intention is just to watch something. They'll see something like Chitose and a Ramune Bottle and expect something entirely different. And they did not get what they wanted. They rated it early because they dropped it. They couldn't finish it. And you got to also think about the fact that we are likely going to see more anime through than others.
Than most, true.
You know what I mean? We are easily watching between 80 to 100 plus anime every year.
Yep, easily.
I'm going to say 90 to 100 plus anime every year.
Yep.
So in relative comparison, right? We're comparing here, like the average person who may very well drop some of these anime and just say, I don't recommend this because it wasn't what I intended on, or it wasn't what I like. Some people are going to stumble across things that they just are not interested in.
Yeah.
And some people are going to, like, let's say for instance, they are going to think that these characters are pretentious. And that's not to be funny, but let's say you think these characters are pretentious.
Your dad is a hero.
Although for like Chitose and around.
Oh, you're back. Okay. You're talking about that.
You're going to think those characters are pretentious, and you're probably going to say, while I might finish this because it's a genre that I would normally indulge in, I can't do it. You're going to go to Dad is a hero, Mom is a spirit, I'm a reincarnated or reincarnator, and you're going to say, okay, I absolutely love this character or this character archetype because this is a genre. Let's say, for instance, the characters are just more into a grain of like slice of life or something that I like more. And it's a preference thing in a lot of regards is how I see it. But then you see my status as an assassin, and what is it you said? It's like 69%?
Yeah.
I don't know, that tracks.
No, it doesn't. Higher than I'm a reincarnator? No way.
No, I'm not saying it should be higher, but I'm saying a 69%, 65%, that tracks in my opinion. I think the show is around there. And had certain situations been handled better, it could be higher. But now, even looking at these most recent episodes, which they were okay. Super duper okay. So the show, for some people who, let's say, for instance, they were looking for something a lot more action oriented and they got something like this, they may drop the score for this even. I think that a lot of that is a relative thing where people are not going to be as enticed to watch more anime than we are.
Legend D Vash, a podcasting colleague of ours, gave it an 8.2. There's nothing 8.2 about this show. And this is, sorry, side tangent. The problem with my status as an assassin, I don't think it's good at all. I don't think it's worthy even anything close to a 70. I think it's about a 55 to 60 because of its terrible, absolutely dog shit writing and absolutely terrible dog shit pacing. Some of the worst writing and pacing I've ever seen. Writing and the pacing coincides because of the way it's fucking rushing through everything, falling in love in 2 seconds and building.
That was wild.
It's all these fucking characters. They're just terrible. Everything is just terrible. No time to grow with anybody, to believe anybody, to believe any type of arc that goes on gets finished in literally maybe 15 minutes. Drives me up a fucking wall. I don't care how. Like, make it longer. Give me 24 episodes. Slow it down. Pace it out. Let us build these characters stronger. Everything is just being rushed and it's dog shit. So I just want to get that out there. The reason why I say that though is because the art style and my status as an assassin obviously exceeds the hero is fucking gorgeous. It is one of the best art styles this season to me personally. Like it looks probably the best out of anything this season, minus outside of My Hero, obviously, because it has $1 billion behind it right now.
That's true.
But it looks incredible, compared to anything else. So, and that's, I just think the eye candy conversation, the eye candy ratings have to stop. Not has to stop. Do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. But I'm just saying, like, that is the main focus of the general consensus. And I think what makes us different from everybody else is that we are going to give you a little bit more than that, which may upset some people because I know how the anime community gets upset when you talk about their favorite shit. Because I truly, there's some shows that I truly think are good, but that tends to fall off. And I think me and Tell had this conversation. I'm about to snitch on Tell real quick to the anime community, but I feel the same way he does. So snitching on both of us. It's about JJK. I don't remember anybody but maybe 2 characters in JJK. And I find that to be a little disturbing. We both read the manga and we both watched the show and we can't remember almost shit about the characters. I know what's coming up because I read the manga. But I still don't find it as captivating or as memorable as something like Naruto or One Piece is or was. So, and maybe it's because of the consumption of literally 90 to 100 anime, because it's about 30 anime per season that we watch. Maybe it's that consumption of that. But I find myself struggling to be excited for JJK upcoming this season. And I know the general consensus is going to blow the fuck up about it, which rightfully so, because what's coming up is pretty nice. You know, it's the calling game and that's cool and all, but I find myself thinking like, do I even care?
Here's what I'm going to say. Because I don't think you snitched on me because I said that to anybody's face.
Me too.
Here's the thing about JJK and how it may fall amongst other anime. Because I think that JJK does deserve a lot of the hype that it gets.
Absolutely. I agree.
I think it's crazy. I can agree. I think it's a cool show. I think it's actually a really good show. Yeah. I like a lot of the characters in the show even.
Same.
It's just, I ain't mad at it. But I think that you have to, even if you like something, how emotionally tied to it are you?
Exactly. Good point.
How emotionally tied to it are you? And I think that the curse system, everything like that, how the world works and stuff like that, is so cool. I love that kind of lore, even in Japanese culture in general.
Yeah.
I'm not super duper tied to it though. And like, there's Twin Star Exorcist, which is a manga I have read from back to front now at this point, probably 3 times.
Let me erase off my chalkboard how many days it's been since you mentioned Twin Star Exorcist.
Shut up. I'm tied to that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
I think you think about Naruto, emotionally tied to it.
Absolutely.
Think about ReZero, emotionally tied to it. You think about Fullmetal Alchemist, emotionally tied to it.
100%.
A lot of these shows that people absolutely fall in love with, and other people may be emotionally tied to it, but I do think that had there been a factor for that show for either of us to be more emotionally attached to it, then we would genuinely not forget about it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's just, it would be a lot harder to say, oh, I can't forget about this show. I'll tell you right now, I hate X-Arm. I'm emotionally tied to it because I am disgusted by that show.
X-Arm.
You feel me?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And I think that in a time, and this is going to be crazy to say, JJK, I'm not saying it's average because I definitely think it's better than Gachiakuta.
Yeah, by a lot.
But my opinion is that it's almost like this should just be the standard.
Yes. Yes. Well said.
It's like everyone is so hyped about all of these things that happen in JJK. I'm like, okay, this is just where anime should be.
It's great. Yeah, absolutely. It's great. It's phenomenal. It looks good. It's fucking, the story is, writing is top tier. Everything about it is great. But that
first season,
be
I
the
think we rated
standard.
that first season super high.
9.8.
We rated it super high.
Yep.
But and I'm not gonna say we would rate it that much lower if we did a re-rating of that first season.
We had somebody who was a super fan as a guest on the show, that podcast, so that's awesome.
Yeah, but but I think even we still rated it like a 9 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would have to be for the average to be 9.8.
But I think that we would be remiss to say that it wouldn't be lower if we reviewed it again now, because I do think that should be the standard.
Yes.
Do I think it's better than, like, because I'm gonna just tell you right off the top of my head right now, I'm not talking about Asta and them grimoire books. I hate that Zatch Bell ripoff. I'm not talking to you about Fairy Tale.
Talk about it.
I hate that show. That is not the standard.
No. And they should never be the standard or accepted as such.
But like I was even telling Polo earlier today, it's part of the reason why I find it hard to make certain anime content. And that is specifically wrapped around the fact that I'm not talking about the same 5 or 10 anime that a lot of people are going to talk about.
Yes.
I loved Magi. I'm not going to talk about Magi with you all the time.
17
and I
times.
I don't even think it's spoken up enough, but I'm not talking about it. I'm not about to talk about Seven Deadly Sins and Escanor every single time because he just had a good line that tends to be TikTok trendy. Who decided that? I'm not doing that with you. I can't talk about Dragon Ball every week.
Yep.
I can't do it. I can't talk about One Piece every week. And I'm a person who reads One Piece.
One Piece is great.
I think One Piece's world is bar none top 2, and it might not be 2. You know what I mean? It's got the largest, most expansive world, I feel like, in anime.
Yeah. Those conversations don't need to be had every single
week.
But for them,
I know my
to.
interest. Yes, for that. But I know that, like, for instance, our interest has, and it's not to say that they're not interested. Like, other people are not interested in this, right? Our podcast community is very interested in what we're interested in. Right. But the reason that, like, I can't talk about that is because I just feel like there's so much more out there.
So much more.
It's like talking about space and I'm still talking about planet Earth.
Right.
Yes, I want to talk about Earth in terms of relativity to how do we find out more about that. If I'm talking about One Piece, or I'm talking about Dragon Ball, or I'm talking about Bleach every week, or anything like that. If I'm talking about the big 3 every week, I want to talk about it in comparison to something else that I just recently watched that I think you should check out, because there is just so much more out there.
Right.
There's so much more out there, and I can't bring myself to constantly go back to that same conversation.
But if you want views.
Yeah, if I wanted views, but I do, but I don't want them that bad to sell my soul.
Right. I'm telling you, we could easily be a fucking 6-figure podcast if we had these conversations every week. The same conversations everybody have, because I think the conversations that we have is even more nuanced for those very popular and very talked about shows on the TikTok spaces and the other podcasts. That if we had those same podcasts over and over, we would be a fucking 6-figure podcast. We'd be fucking to the stars with our content. And that's not being arrogant. I'm humbly saying that because that's how it is. I just don't want to have those conversations, because those conversations mean absolutely nothing to me. I could still talk about Naruto all day with anybody, the best of them. I don't care to. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of my favorite shows ever, but I won't discuss it. Like,
I'll leave that to y'all. Yeah. I'll even watch y'all content about Naruto.
Exactly.
I'm just not gonna make it.
Exactly, because we are going to bring you some of the new stuff seasonally and topically every single fucking week. We say all this to say, if you want a more nuanced conversation about stuff that you've probably not going to watch or haven't watched or thinking about watching, stay tuned in to Mic Check Waifu. Let's get into some spoilers, Tail.
All right, brother. We already know what the spoilers is.
We're going to start with this week with spoiling 2 shows. The 2 shows we're going to spoil Oh, actually, let's get to know my Chuck Waifu before we do that. This is part of the podcast where you get to know us a little bit better. One of us rolls a random number generator, the other reads a question associated with that number.
You rolling this week?
I'm rolling this week?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Random number gen. Boom. Boom. 45.
Roll again.
Let's go. 53.
Roll again.
Let's go. I love when we roll again. 24.
All right. Do you prefer anime based on manga, light novels, or original works?
Ooh. Make sure we erase that question.
For sure.
That's a good question. Because we know original works turn out to be 75% trash. The other 25 good. So that's out of the question. Light novels, I think, are the best way for anime to be based off of. Let me give you an example. Overlord. ReZero. I don't think I need to even say anymore. Are based off of light novels.
Yeah.
JJK, based off of manga. To go back to the conversation we just had. Albeit great. Chainsaw Man also based off of manga. But the best of the best usually are based off of light novels. Because they have more expensive detailed worlds, more expensive detailed characters, more expensive detailed power systems, Overlord, ReZero, etc. I think light novels would be the correct answer for me personally.
And we can even say something like this, right? And while I love both of them, I think that there is a universal consensus on which one is better. Full Metal Alchemist, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. One of them starts with the manga adaptation, takes a detour. One of them is just the manga adaptation. Brotherhood is generally considered the one you should watch, and that is the one that has followed the manga or the source material. And I say that because I do think it's important that, and it's not that it's specifically better because it's been written down, but it's been established. There has been a pattern or a longer thought process that has already set it out there to say, boom, this is what it is. I have to do it again. Twin Star X's manga versus Twin Star X's anime. They are not the same.
Right.
They are not even close to the same.
If they would have based it off the manga, it probably would have been better.
I think if they had based off the manga, I think it would be in the conversation that y'all constantly put shonen in. Or just other high ranking shonen in. But it didn't do that. And sadly, the show won't last because of that.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Now to start with spoilers. The Dusk Beyond the End of the World. This is spoilers for episode. Find it. Sorry. Dusk Beyond the End of the World. Episode 10. This is spoilers for episode 10 of Dusk Beyond the End of the World. This show is incredible, man. For one, I'm gonna skip right to the end. Finding out that this let me get his name right. This Akira is also an android blew my fucking mind. It blew my fucking mind because don't care who you are. You had no idea. Nobody had no idea. Not saying you, I'm saying the general you. Nobody had no idea that he was a fucking android because of the plot and the writing in the story, everything, the way it was paced and the way it was moving. No hints of him being an android intentionally until this episode. Right before we found out he was an android, there was a scene that showed Tawasa, I think it's how you name Tosa. I don't know how to say her name. That showed her with what looked to be an adult Akira making the sisters, they called them, the android sisters, and he seemed to have been there as far as like the person that was standing next to her was. So safe to assume that. And still, even at that point, I didn't put two and two together. I'm like, oh, he looked familiar. but I didn't think he was Akira because we had no idea Akira was a fucking android at that time until the very end. So I just thought that piece of the show, those shows writing was incredible. But I also think the nuance in this show with obviously androids, love, our girl Amaru experiencing what actual love is and not just this what they call it, Escalade Elsie or whatever, Elsie, their version of marriage, and actually experience what love is and jealousy. I thought that was all phenomenal. I thought just the way everything is established in this show is just so good. Sorry.
I think that the reveal that he was an android was perfect. I hate because I don't want to say that it's predictable, but I do want to say that I was like, what if he's an android too? No, hear me out. I was in my head like, what if he's an android too? And I was like, nah, because there would have been a sign. In my head, I'm like, there would have been a sign. And I didn't see one, but I'm like, what if he's an android too? Now, mind you, I just be having thoughts. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying that I predicted it. I'm just saying I definitely was like, what if he's an android too? But I do think that this was shocking. It was everything that like, it makes you wonder even more now.
Yeah.
Because the world that they knew has ended. Is this like a ploy for them to carry on their love? So that their love can show that androids are more than just this inhuman experience. That this is really what android/AI is. It's this factor that
they
lives this human
love.
Experience. That, you saw him while he wanted to be with her. He still is fully in love with her. There was something about this other android that he was falling for. His feelings stayed true.
Yeah.
Even if he never found or knew that, the person that he cared the most about was there, or it may no longer be there, something about her was drawing him in. And I think that that's the point of what we're seeing here, is that androids still very much so have these human emotions. And the Elsia thing is to show that, like, even when you agree to this group love, that there's levels to this love thing. Mm-hmm. There's levels to it. And I feel like, is seeing them all as like a family and seeing them as like the love that she grew up around, that this is what I want for love.
Right.
But she's seeing the type of love and the deepness and the depth. That's what it is. The depth of their love and attraction to each other. She could see how deep they care about each other more than they can, because she's from on the outside.
Right.
And
right.
I feel like, in terms of reference to what an android is, it shows that their emotional relationship is being shown as just as important or just as detailed as a human emotional relationship. That this is a sort of sentience.
Yep.
This is a sort of life. This is not just this scary AI model that we're thinking about right now. This is so much more than that. And I think that that's what this is meant to interpret for them. And I love the rollout and the demonstration of that.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of? And a lot of people who listen to the podcast and watch only anime and don't play many video games probably won't gel with what I'm about to say, but it reminds me of Soma. It's this game Soma. Fucking incredible game, by the way. It's a survival, I guess, psychological horror game where...
Oh, you told me about this one.
Yeah, where this guy who decides to save his consciousness. But he saves his consciousness to the point where he saved his consciousness, if that makes sense. He saves his consciousness to the point where he saved his consciousness. So when he wakes up, it's just his consciousness, but it's not him. So he's going through this his entire life, like, okay, what the hell is going on? Kind of trying to find his way through as his consciousness, but it ain't really him. So he's like freaking out about, is it me? Is it not me? Is it? And that's what this situation is for Akira. And I think that is so powerful when it comes to the writing of this story. Dusk Beyond the End of the World, I think what you said is perfect. Is a perfect definition of what this is, and that's the continuation of what she built as far as AI goes, and it's showing people that it's more than just somebody to take your job. That these are people with feelings, and I think her goal, Yuguri's goal, was to showcase that we could get married, we could fall in love from moment one as androids. Now that we know that they're androids. And that blows my fucking mind, because now I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, well, fuck. Are Akira and Tosa just both gone? Or are they both alive? Are they both, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know. I have, like, there's so many more questions now as to what this is going to be. I feel so horribly sorry for Akira right now, though. This android Akira, because in his mind, he was him. Just like the guy in Soma was.
He's broken now.
So the psychological process of this situation is fucking terrible when you think about it.
But did you see exactly? And I think that's exactly what you're saying is amazing, right? I feel like, and I could be wrong on like what actually happens here, but you saw he turned off his hearing.
Yep. I want to hear none of this shit. And
that is a thing that literally happens to certain people, or has happened to people. They get so heartbroken or something like that where their eyesight just goes away. Yep. They get so heartbroken that they can't hear anymore. And then they have to overcome that emotional trauma before it actually comes back. It's not that things don't work. It's that psychologically it's broken.
Yep.
You got rid of the part that you can't deal with anymore.
Oof.
And that was amazing. I loved that.
What's also so brilliant about the writing is the way the trajectory of the conversation of the lie. Mm-hmm. What would you do if you found out you were being lied to by the one you love? Or, you know, and that
someone you trusted, yeah.
Someone you trusted. That is the factor, the basis, the start of this episode. And the way it just fucking weaves and interweaves into the overall story between what just happened and finding out she's an android and she's been lying to him. And it's so good. The writing is so good that it just blows my fucking mind. It blew my mind. It was incredible. Mm-hmm. It was an incredible watch still. Now I'm sad that we only have 13 episodes of the season. So there's 3 more that we get to experience. But believe this is going to be talked about next week as well, because I have to know. I have to know.
Yeah, man. Heartbroken.
Heartbroken too. My heart broken too. Are you okay? Let's take a step back. Let's not necessarily gut check, but what is your feelings to Yuguri after what she did to Akira? Do you dislike her? Do you have resentment? Do you feel as heartbroken as he is for an AI?
I think that, and I know this might sound a little wild, but I'm heartbroken for a lot of reasons, right? And just hear me out when I say this.
Listen.
Yes, I'm heartbroken for Akira, because there's a lot to come to terms with as soon as you find this information out. That one, the love you think you're feeling, you don't feel like they're yours anymore, because like you said, in the Soma, that's not, you don't feel like that's you. You're like, I got to come to a realization of who I actually am.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You have just lost your sense of self.
That gave me chills.
You just lost your sense of self.
Yeah.
Yuguri, who has already kind of had time to deal with that and already been pre-programmed and already had a chance to meet her. You know what I mean? She met Tawasa, she met Tawasa and was like, okay, I know what the goal is. I know what the mission is. So the sense of realization never even came to her. Mm-hmm. But I think her actions with trying to demonstrate a factual life and not knowing when to interject that, hey, look, I need you to understand something, that you are an android.
Sheesh.
As a human, even to try and deliver that in the best possible manner is difficult, especially when you weren't the one to wake him up.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm heartbroken for that, because now she has to deal with the backlash of that I think that obviously he comes through it. I just don't know what that looks like on the other hand.
And
Does he
Amaru.
go like, does he go full crazy? Amaru, now hear me out. That's not who I was even going to go to next. Yoyami and Hakubo. The other
Android sisters.
Yuguri androids who they all essentially have Tawasa's face, right?
Right.
But I'm also a little heartbroken for them because it's like you do look at the fact that they were, I'm not going to say shunned, but they weren't given the same mission.
Oh.
One of them is clearly grieving.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other one is somewhat of like an understanding figure, but there is still a sense of loss in the idea of like they admire their creator, they admire who created them, and there is a level of heartbreak there as well
because they're supposed to be sisters.
They're supposed to be, and yet here they are squabbling, fighting,
which is great.
Letting it happen, even to a point where it's like I gotta let my sisters handle this, or I'm gonna go as far as I got to prove a point. To me, there has to be a true story behind that, even where I feel like we even haven't gotten the full depth of that. Like we got some of it, bits of it, but we haven't gotten all of that yet.
We got 3 episodes.
And Amaru, right, we gonna have to get seasons of this. Amaru, who, like I said, and I know I'm talking a lot, but y'all gonna have to bear with me for a little bit. Amaru, who grew up in a world where love is multifaceted, which I think that, and just hear me out, I think love should be this way, where you make that decision to like, hey, we're a group and we love each other, or I'm a person, I love my person.
Right.
I'm not gonna judge you regardless. I think that you come to the terms of realizing that when you love others, right, and you see how others are loving each other, either you're okay with it and you truly make yourself a part of that union. If you're going to choose that, if you're going to choose that LC route and be a multiplicative love, you have to make yourself part of that union, and you have to love the fact that they even love each other that deeply.
Yep, because you love them that way as well.
Yeah, and you don't want to bear that resentment because now you're harming your love. And it's like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of growing up for her. And I'm going to say she's probably going to think like, I need to step away from this love.
Do it, now.
Yeah, but I think that she's also going to be like, eventually she's going to come to a point to where it's like, I love the way you guys love each other. And I think that it's important that we are together. Maybe, I'm not sure, but I think that that's part of her arc and growth. You know what I mean? I don't know.
And that's what makes this so great. We have no freaking idea of how this is going to go, like, at all. And I can't wait to see how it does go. Now,
what are your thoughts? I know I didn't said a lot, brother.
No, you said enough. You said a perfect amount, because it's exactly how I feel. It's gonna be tough, I think, for Akira to forgive Yuguri, and I think he will, because that's the type of person he is, or AI he is. But I don't think. I don't know how I feel. I don't know if Tosa is still alive. I don't know if the real Akira is still alive with her. So that,
I don't think so either.
That is the toughest part about this. And I think this is where they have to be, they have to go beyond the end of the world, where they have to establish a relationship or something like that. Or I don't know, how do you build a family with it? I don't know.
I think that the beyond the end idea is them coming together,
existing,
right?
And coming together. Yeah.
That's them coming together, where it may be like only once they're together they unlock a core aspect of like what they wanted to share with them.
Yeah.
But I think that it's going to take time, right? And it's going to be specifically him rebuilding the trust, right? I don't even know. It's making me feel, when I just said that, it makes me feel like they're going to separate.
Yeah, you can't trust somebody that does that shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, because I'm not an AI. I wasn't programmed. I don't know.
But as a human, you know what I mean? Like, if you was like,
no shot.
What you mean?
You broke my biggest level of trust and you didn't tell me what I am? From moment one?
I don't know. Yeah, bro. And I just feel like I do. And God, I hope they don't, but I feel like they're going to have to go separate ways for a bit.
I'm with that 100%. I don't want them to either, but I'm with that.
Yeah, because there has to be a separation for the healing to come.
Yep.
And then he'll realize, boom. But I don't know what happens. Do you think he goes solo, or do you think Amaru goes with him, or do you think Yugiri goes with her sisters and they kind of quell their beef?
Yeah, I think he tries to go solo.
I think so too. I think that has to be the route, and I think Amaru goes with Yugiri.
Yep, I think so too. And she tries to fix the situation by talking to her or something, but I don't know. It's hard. We're going to figure out in 3 days, actually.
This shit kind of spooky, bro.
By the time we record this, yeah, I know.
I'm worried.
Me too. I'm concerned. It could all fall off a cliff here, or it can all continue to be amazing. By the way, Just Beyond the End of the World, 64% on AniList. How?
That is insane.
How, bro? The writing is unbelievable. The characters are great. I just don't get it.
This episode was damn near perfect.
It was. It totally was. It totally was. I don't get it. All right. Now moving on to the last thing. Wild Ass Boss Appear, episode I don't give a fuck.
10.
Episode 10. Everything you said was spot on. Was what I was thinking last week, and even more so this week. It's dumb. The show is dumb because the character is dumb. And then what happened between these two is dumb. You mean to tell me another level 1000 player who's a beta tester, who has more abilities, more powers, more everything, couldn't beat her? Now, I understand you're trying to use the fact that she's a frontline fighter versus a mage, but even still, frontline fighters cannot beat mages, especially when you have something called X-Gate and you can teleport virtually anywhere. Now,
go ahead.
Now, they tried to quell that by saying, oh, she moved so fast. She moved through the gate to catch up to her because she's just that quick. However, they didn't establish none of that well as far as who Lufus is or what she could do as far as her ability goes. And then as far as Dina goes, they didn't establish the fact that she's just not good at her class, quote unquote. And I think the fight to play out the way it did, I feel like it was very cheap and very just, what's the word I'm looking for? Flashy, or let's impress the viewer here by showing how powerful Lufus is, by having her go against somebody her level and dominate still. I just don't find that. And in the way she dominated, I don't feel the outcome as satisfying as what the situation was. It just didn't work. None of it worked at all. And it still feels stupidly bad how they're trying to play the rest of it out. Now we're on the same team where we're going to go fight this demon lord. 2 1000s. Just go. Dude, you're done. Y'all don't need nobody else. What are we still here for? I don't know. I feel like it was a waste of it's a waste of my time, but I'm still going to watch it.
So, they tried to just pencil in the fact that, oh, well, you're clearly I believe you're a beta tester because you didn't have any need to specialize in PvP or anything like that. So you just slap skills together, shit like that. And I'm like, I would have preferred in the heat of battle, you almost give us a little bit of an internal monologue and saying, I recognize that, okay, she's slow to cast this spell and counter of my movement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, that makes more sense because it's almost like I said, I hate to compare it, but I feel like it's an Ain's ass move where you move, like when he was fighting
Chaotir.
When he's fighting Chaotir and Chaotir is getting ready to do something, he's like, okay, I know Chaotir normally does this move in combination with this, and she's, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It would feel more like an actual thought-provoking battle if you're in the moment saying that instead of pausing. I knew this whole time you weren't this because I can see.
It's so stupid.
Shut up.
It
feels like Frieza trying to monologue Goku. You know Frieza's not there for the monologue. Frieza's there to call you a monkey. I would have rather just heard that. This show, and I hate to say it, Dragon Ball Daima is better than this. It's the story, the pacing. This is weird. it feels I don't want to say childish. It feels undercooked.
I was about to say, I don't know, childish maybe, you're right.
But you know what I mean? I don't want to say childish, but it feels underdone. It feels not finished. Like they were just kind of sliding parts in, like, oh, I forgot to say something to make this seem cool. And they just slid it in and say, oh, yeah, here you go. It's not well baked. It's not put together all the way.
Yeah.
And that's it. It can't. It almost. I feel like you can't save this.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I'm looking at the comments on the most recent episode 10 on AniList. And people are loving it. They're eating it up. Somebody said I expected a bigger fight and kind of disappointed, even though it was good plot wise. No, it wasn't. I assume that the last 2 episodes will involve meeting the hero or something like that. Yeah, I didn't find none of it to be very interesting as far as their conversations and their back and forth. It was a quick bash. It was a quick forgiving. It was unfulfilling, as you said, undercooked. I just think it was poorly written and just poorly done in general. I think what would have been better, because for one, Dina's reasoning is stupid. Like if Luffy is this powerful and you knew this all already, why would you go against it? Why wouldn't you try to go against it so they destroy each other? Why wouldn't you try to recruit her from the very beginning, tell her the situation, and then go from there? All of that, everything else could have been avoided. But
mind you, you have an ability that she can't mess with. The X-Gate ability itself is crazy.
Yeah, it's overpowered. It's the name of the game, overpowered. So it's like you couldn't do nothing with it, or she couldn't do nothing with it usually. But even still, you could have just talked to her in front of episode 1, hey, this is the situation. I want to fucking kill the Demon Lord because of this, and that. What was the entire plot reason for her to go against him, to have them fight each other and virtually destroy each other?
Let me tell you what that is, because I predicted this already. I knew I could tell this immediately from the beginning of the show. So they're gonna get to the final episode, and we're gonna find out ain't no plot.
Ain't no plot whatsoever. There is so the hero did get whisked in. What do you think becomes of this summoning of the hero?
He is gonna be level 1.
You think so?
He's gonna be. I don't think he's gonna be. I think
a non-factor.
I think it's gonna be a scenario where the hero has to level up, and they're gonna team up because their goal is gonna be the same thing.
Oh, him team up with Luffy?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think the goal is gonna be the same thing. He's just another recruit to the group.
Yeah. There is no episode in here, so I don't know if we're getting 20 or whatever. It seemed like
I don't know how long I can last on this.
I was about to say, it seemed like a show that they would do 24 on, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't see this getting better. Maybe it does. We'll see. But it's pretty sometimes.
Sometimes.
And with that, I'm at Polo Bornfly on social media.
I'm at King Taliano on social media.
You follow our social media is at youtube.com/@MikeCheckWaifu. And make sure you subscribe to the gaming podcast for the eventual return. youtube.com/@RespectGames, RESPEC Games. But as always, Mike check.
Go rate Dusk Beyond the End of the World something higher than a 6.9 or 6.4.
You're now tuned into Mike Check Waifu Waifu. Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you? Is that you?